Okay, so this is 11:05. I think we can get started. We are about 23 on the call now. So, Mr. Shakiru, if you can hear me, please, we can start the session now. Thank you very much. Yeah, hi, Zainab. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. All right.
Okay, apologies. Mr. Shakiru is experiencing issues. He's
Oh.
going to start the session soon. He's going to join us back. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Thank you.
Okay.
Hi guys, can you guys hear me? Hello.
Yes, we can.
We can
Okay,
hear you.
apologies. I had a bit of issues with my network. I had to change internet. Okay, I guess we can start, right? I'll need a verbal confirmation from you guys, please. Not sure you guys can hear me. Oh, you guys are muted.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So I'll just start. Good morning, everyone. Thank you very much, Hassan, for the introduction, and thank you very much for having me. My name is Shakiru, like Hassan mentioned, and I'll be taking you guys through PowerPoint. This is supposed to be a beginner level type thing, right? But as we go along, I would also just try to gauge the participation of the class and see how things go. We have a very short time. I won't lie to you. It will typically take about 3-4 classes. I don't know what the conversation is with what's it called? Um, the program facilitators, but I know I have just 2 hours, right? I'll try my best to wrap in as much as possible into that time. It's not enough, but I'll try. So that's that. Before I start, because I also want this to, because I know this is supposed to be like a mentorship program as well. So I wouldn't just be talking about PowerPoint. Along the line, I would just try to add 1 or 2 tips that I think will be beneficial to you. Tips that I think that if I had when I was where you guys are right now, would have been very beneficial to me as well. So permit me along the way, I'll drop those things. So to start, I'll share my screen so that you guys would have access to my screen. So it will be a switch between sharing my screen for the presentation slides that I've prepared, and also a bit of hands-on as well, right? So yeah, so I would start. Let me know when you guys can see my screen.
Yes, we can see your screen.
Yes, we can see your screen.
Okay, thank you very much. Like as I mentioned, it's supposed to be a beginner level, intermediate level introduction to PowerPoint, right? But before I start, I would like to just introduce myself. My name is Shakiru, um, Shakiru Muraina. I study computer science, University of Ilorin, right? And I currently work as a strategy manager with a subsidiary of VFG Group, Akure Asset Management. That's what I do on a day-to-day. I've operated across strategy, operations, investment management, and the like. So just really my role has really revolved around me having to use PowerPoint on a day-to-day basis, right? And just something to also share to just put your mind at rest is also the fact that it's fine if this feels like, I don't know this thing. How come everybody's getting this thing and I don't get it yet? It's fine. When I was at your level, I won't lie to you. I tell people when I take classes like this that when I was in uni, first time I ever used PowerPoint when I was in uni was in my, I think, year 3 or so, um, seminar where we had to like present a seminar topic, right? That was the first time. The second time was when I was in my final year project. I didn't touch it till after school, and I enrolled for EduBridge. It was at EduBridge I really learned how to use PowerPoint, just few classes. The rest was just me trying to learn on my own, right? So it's fine if you don't get it now, right? It just takes practice. As you continue to use the tool more, you get a grasp of how to use. So it's fine if it looks difficult right now. Don't beat yourself up, right? So that's fine. So I'll start. Um, so what's PowerPoint? I don't want to go into like details of definition and all of that. PowerPoint is just a presentation tool among other presentation tools that we have out there, right? Owned by Microsoft. And it is a part of the um, Microsoft Office suite, including the likes of Excel, Microsoft Word, um, Microsoft Visio, Power BI, and all these other um, tools that they have, right? And there are different use cases for PowerPoint. And if I ask you guys, one of the major use cases that everybody knows that use PowerPoint for, people would readily just say, oh, for making presentations, right? But there are a whole lot of other things that you can use PowerPoint for, right? You can use them to design your sales pitch. You can use them to design your annual report, trainings, investment reports. It could be for education purposes, for lectures, your projects, like I mentioned. Um, Even event presentation, you can use it to put together like a photo slideshow or just something you want to use to showcase a project or something. You can even use it to design banners, right? All those social media banners and all of those things that you see online, you can actually use PowerPoint to design them. And it is not just PowerPoint that you can use for presentations, right? We have other tools like Canva. For me, for most parts, these days, I readily just use Canva because it's easier, comes with a lot of templates I can easily use rather than me just starting afresh, right? Also Google Slides as well. So those are the other tools that you can also use for your presentation. Now, getting started, like I mentioned, I would switch between this slide I've put together that would act as my talking points and also going into like a core slide and just showing you guys what it is. And please, as I go through how to do certain things, if you're not getting it or if I'm too fast, please call my attention. Even though I'm apologizing ahead that I might be a little fast because of time, and I'm trying to like just cover as much as possible, right? So let's start. So I've talked about um, different things you can use PowerPoint for, Microsoft PowerPoint, to what you can use them for. Something else to keep in mind is that for most people, when you need to make a presentation, more often than not, what people tend to do is once you get your topic or you get something or you have an idea of what you want to do, people readily just open PowerPoint and say, oh, I have an idea, and just begin to do this. One of the first things that you have to do is to understand what you're trying to do. right? And what do I mean by what you are trying to do? Because of the medium or whatever objective you're trying to achieve has a very big influence on how you design your slide. What do I mean? For example, if you're making a presentation slide for where you're giving a lecture, for example, the way you design that type of slide is quite different from how you would design, say, a pitch deck where you're pitching to investors or you're pitching to your manager or you're pitching to somebody or you're trying to share an idea. It's also quite different to how you're going to put together, say, an investment report, right? Because all of those things have different audiences, right? And knowing what you want to do and what you are trying to achieve will determine how you prepare your slide, right? So the first thing you need to do is understand what you're trying to do. Are you trying to give a lecture? Is it the kind of presentation where you're going to be there and you're going to be presenting? Is it the kind of presentation where you're going to send your report across to people and you won't be there to talk about what you've done? Or is it something that would be that you would present, but you would have a very short time to present what you want to present? Knowing all of these things determine how you would put together your slide. So the first thing you have to do, even before you open your slide, is understand what am I doing and what am I trying to achieve. Craft a story for what you want to do. So I'm going to have 10 slides. On each slide, I want to talk about A, B, C, D, E, and F. The way I usually explain this when I talk about it is this. It's like if you want to teach somebody or you want to document to somebody how to cook, how to prepare rice, right? You have to, for somebody that's never prepared rice before in their life, you have to be able to explain it in such a way that they will be able to follow step by step. What's the first thing they need to do after they, what are all the things they need to get ready first? What's the first thing they need to do once their ingredients is ready? What is the first thing they do? Then what's the next thing? Then what's the next thing? Up until the point where they have their food ready to use, right? So that's how I tend to explain it. So you also have to be able to articulate to a very large extent. And there might be cases where as you go along, as you prepare your slide, different ideas might come and you have to change and move things around. But it's good to have an idea of what you want your flow to look like, right? Even before you begin, right? So starting PowerPoint, so I will just, let's say I don't have my program already open. So I would like you guys to follow along. So this is my desktop. And if I want to start the program, I want to put together a presentation or a slide. First thing I have to do is I have to open PowerPoint, right? Depending on the version of Microsoft you're using, or depending on Windows version that you're using, or whether iOS or whatever operating system you're using on your laptop. For me, so readily you would maybe go to search and search PowerPoint, right? Once you see the program, you click and then it opens. For some of you guys, if you've not used the tool before, this interface might look a little bit different from what I have. What you're seeing here, sorry, let me do that again. So what you're seeing here are some of the recent documents that I've worked on, right? And if you scroll down, if you've done something before, you'll see some of the recent documents that you've worked on, or the document that you worked on recently. At the top right here, you would see some different templates that you can use, right, for your presentation, depending on the version of PowerPoint that you're using as well. For the purpose of this class, we're going to be starting with a blank presentation. So I'll click on blank presentation. You should have something like this by default. So because I connected to internet, that's why it's showing. So you should have something like this, right? And this just shows your workspace for PowerPoint. Everything you're going to be doing when it comes to putting together a presentation, it is all going to happen here. You have your windows and ribbon and and thing up here, not this sorry, this zoom stuff might be blocking you, so I'll move it aside. So you have your different toolbar up here. Please let me know if you can see this clearly. You have your home, insert. Your home is where you have majority of things around your clipboard, out where you would see features where you would insert new slides, how to change your font and your text. If you're very familiar with Microsoft Word already, this should also be very familiar to you. All those Word features, fonts, paragraph, and all of those things, you have them here. And then you have drawing where you want to insert shapes, arrange shapes, and all of those things, right? The insert pane, I just would like to just go through each of these pane, each of these one by one, and just briefly tell you what they do and how to use them. So if you click on insert, you see features like, also if you want to insert a new slide, there's a feature there. You want to insert tables, pictures, screenshots. So this toolbar up here, again, might be, what you're seeing for mine might be a little bit different from yours, depending on the version of PowerPoint that you're using. So if yours is a little bit different, it's fine. I would ensure that I limit the things that we talk about, right, to things that I know you would also have on your end. So for example, depending on the version you're using, you probably don't have something like icons or 3D models, right? Or this Power BI or forms features, you probably don't have them. It's fine. We won't be talking about those ones today. The most important thing would be tables, inserting new slides, pictures, or a photo album, shapes. This is actually very, very important. Majority of things that you're going to be doing, you're going to be taking them from this place. And then also if you want to insert media, so say you want to insert a video, or you want to insert an audio, or you even want to do a screen recording, right? And put on your presentation, you would have them here. Another major feature that you would come across more often when you're using this, at least for your level, is this here, design. What this design does is that this is where you would find things like changing the theme of your slide. So you would see as I put my cursor here and I click this, you can see that the color for my presentation has changed from just a white background. So you can select from different features here, right, that you can use, even though I usually would not like advise to use any of this, but for your level, because you're just starting and there are a lot of things you're still like trying to grasp, you can use this. Once you have your content ready, you're trying to put something together, you can select a theme here, depending on your design level, right? You can select any of these things. So for us, I'll just change this back to the normal white that we were using before. Also, on this side, you would see another very important feature I want to show you is the slide size. So here you can click this and change. So the default once you open PowerPoint is usually a wide size slide, which is 16 by 9. If you see this, I clicked here, 16 by 9. You can change this to standard 4 by 3. My default whenever I try to use PowerPoint is usually changing it to 4 by 3, and I'll tell you why I usually do that as we go along. But depending, like I said before, depending on what you're trying to do and what you're trying to achieve, will determine what type of slide size that you're going to come across. Also, when you start working, right, most organizations already have a template that they use. So your organization's templates already come in a particular default size, right? You can change it if you like, as long as you're not changing the style or there's no rule that says that your slide size for your organization has to be a particular size. If that is the case, you can always come here and change the size of your slide. I also mentioned something earlier that you can do different things with PowerPoint, right? I talked about you designing a banner with PowerPoint. I talked about you designing the report with PowerPoint and all of those things. So depending on what you want to do, you want the size of your slide to be the size of what's it called? what you're trying to do, what it would fit into, right? So you click custom size, right? You see this drop down, and I want you guys to also check this out on your end if you can do this. So you go to design. How do I hide this thing? It's blocking my. Let's just leave it there. So you click on design and come to the right hand side of your screen, right? And click on slide side. If anybody is using an older version of PowerPoint, say 2007, yours will probably not say slides design. I think yours would show size format or something format or something. That's what you would see. You probably would not see this slide size. So you can click on custom slide size, and then there should be a pop-up. Please confirm you can see this pop-up.
Yes, I can.
Okay. So you would see this pop-up. If you click on this drop-down, you can select any size of any defined size that you want to use, right? There's on-screen show 4x3, there's letter paper. So for example, let's say you're trying to design something and you would print it on, say, A4 paper when you're done, right? For example, this current slide that we're using probably will not fit in very well on an A4 paper. You need to be doing some form of adjusting and all of that. I can just select A4 here, right, and click OK. If I know a particular size of what I want to do, say for example, I'm trying to say design a banner or maybe a social media header or banner or something, I can click on this banner and click OK. Once I click OK, you'll see that I'll come back and explain this, right? You can see that the size of my slide has changed to this tiny long banner, right? I'll undo and go back there because I still want to explain something to you guys. Also, if you know the default, what's it called? The default size of what you want to do, you can click on custom and now select or manually input the width and the height of what you are trying to do, right? And just click width or height and all of those things. Select whatever it is that you want and then click OK. You can also change the size and the slide orientation from either portrait or landscape. The default is usually landscape. So you click OK and then it changes, right? So I will undo again. So I'll go back to this. So we've talked about opening PowerPoint. I've talked about what you see on your screen when you open, the different templates that you can use, all these guys up here that you can adopt. I've talked about how you would see recent files that you've used, right? And how to start a blank presentation. We've talked about the different features on your workspace, the different slide panes, and the navigation bars up there, right? So the next thing, so I've also talked about, so the next thing I want to talk about, right, is selecting a layout. Though I've talked a little bit about this, but I'll go back and talk about those things again. So selecting a layout, adding your titles and subtitles, changing your slide size, formatting your background, adding and editing text. So let's go back. Now, the other time I talked about changing your slide size. So I will come back here to design. If you're on home, so click on design and click on slide size and change yours to standard 4x3, right? Standard 4x3. If you get that option where it is asking you to either maximize or ensure fit, just select anyone. As long as you don't have anything on your slide currently, just select anyone and click OK. And I'll come back and explain what those things are for. So just select anyone and click OK. Now, once you have this, so I want to talk about why I would readily use a 4x3 slide size. The reason I would do this is that for the way I would like to design, it's just a design preference, to be honest. You could do anything. right? Also, because depending on what I'm trying to do, I usually would like to use a smaller slide size such that once I have 2 or 3 objects on my slide, text box, a shape, a table, a picture or something, my slide is already looking full already, right? Compared to if I'm using like a wide size and I have to put a lot of information on the slide so that the slide does not look scanty, right? So that's why I would readily use this. But you can use anyone for the purpose of this class. You can use anyone. So I would talk about, so by default, you would have 2 text boxes on your slide. One is supposed to be your title slide, while the other is supposed to be your subtitle slide, right? Let's talk about how to remove these things from your slide. To remove these things, you have to delete them. How do you delete them? You put your cursor and place your cursor at the edge of your box and click. Once you click and you see that these boxes have been highlighted like this, right? You click on delete and it goes away. Click on delete on your keyboard and it goes away, right? Be careful if you put your cursor and you click inside this, right? Such that your cursor is blinking like this, asking you to type something. If you click on delete, you won't be able to delete the box because what this is showing is that you're ready to type something into the text box, right? But that's not what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to delete the text box. So I'll click on the edge like this, and then I'll delete. I'll come to the second one, click on the edge, and then delete. Another way to delete text boxes is to highlight them both like this. And click on delete. How do you highlight? Put your cursor outside of what you want to highlight, right? Put your hand on your trackpad, left click, and then drag like this. Just ensure that you're dragging to cover everything. So for example, let's say I want to delete this box. If I drag and I'm dragging and this does not cover the entire text box. So for example, I want to delete these 2 boxes and I'll drag it like this. See what happens. It would only highlight my first text box. It will not highlight the second text box because the second text box was not fully highlighted, right? So I won't be able to delete the second text box. So what I'll do is highlight and ensure it covers them both and then click on delete and then it goes away, right? Once you've done that, let's look at, so in the course of your presentation, right, you want to insert the text box, right? How do you do that? You go to insert, right, and come towards your right hand side and see under text pane, click on text box. Once you click on text box and you bring your cursor back to the slide, you see something that looks like a tiny, what's it called? Your cursor changes to like something that has like a plus sign at the bottom. So drag and you have a text box, right? So let's call this, let's just type something. Let's say, call it introduction PowerPoint, right? Now, I have this. So I want to use this for my title. If you recall from your usage of Microsoft Word, you can now come here under font and decide to change the font. Let's say I want to use Arial, right? I can also go ahead and increase the font size. You can either select like this or just type a number into this place. Let's say I want to use 50, right? And then I have this. Can you guys hear me? Please confirm you can still hear me.
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. So I can do this, increase my font and maybe just place this. Now, to move your text box around, once you bring your cursor very close to your text box, from a pointed arrow, it changes to a pointed arrow, 4-edge pointed arrow. Place your cursor at the edge, then click on your trackpad and drag. You can then move your, what's it called, your text box, either left, right, or center, right? Let's reduce this font and say to say 45. Let's use 40, right? So that's how to insert a text box, right? I can go ahead and change the color. So the default is usually black for your text. It's usually black. You can also change the font color of your text box. You come here, still under font. You see this that looks like A. Again, if you're very familiar with using Microsoft Word, you would see that. Click on this, and you would see all of these predefined colors here, right? You can select one that you want from here. If you can't find any of the colors that you want here, if you click on more colors and go to custom, you can see this, move it around till you get the particular color that you want. And now move this. You will notice that as you're moving this, right, there's a number here that is changing. There's something, you see color model, RGB. If you click this drop down, you see RGB or HSL. Again, depending on the version you're using. So if yours is not like that, it's fine. If yours is just RGB, it's fine. Then you would see these numbers, red, green, and blue. So RGB is basically combination of red, of the primary colors to give you another color. When you combine the primary colors to give you another color, the numbers that you can see here is showing the different shade of each primary color. So for example, red, green, and blue, that is on a color wheel. There's something called the color wheel. We're not going to dive deep into that. Each color shade has a color code that is a number, right? So for red, 162, green 131, blue 118, and the hexadecimal equivalent of that is this. This is flying over your head. It's fine. Just listen and look at this. You can, after this class, go online and check color codes. You'll find a whole lot. This is not just relating to PowerPoint alone. It relates to design generally and just colors generally. So it's fine if you're not getting it now, right? And then, like I was saying, you can now select a color, moving around, you'll see the color, and then you click OK. The reason I brought you guys here is that sometimes you won't find the exact color that you want from those predefined colors, right? But if you know the color you want, or say you know the color code, you can always get the color code online, right? You can come in here and type the color code here, right? And just click OK. You can see that the color has changed, right? The next thing I want to show us is also, so let's go to insert. And that was where we found our text box. Let's talk about, under insert, let's talk about shapes, right? If you click on shapes, you would see different shapes. So I'll just talk about the different things. Even a text box, you would see it here. So at the top, if you've been using PowerPoint very well, right, you would find the most recent or the tools that you use more often at the top, right? While below, you now find a categorization of all the different shapes that you can use, right? You have lines, the different types of lines that you can use. A normal line, a line arrow, a double line arrow, a connector elbow arrow, and all of that. Then you move to rectangles. You see rectangle, you see a rounded corner rectangle, you would see rectangle, single corner, and all of that. Then you see basic shapes, oval, triangle, right triangle, and all these other parallelogram and all these other shapes. And then you see arrows and all these other guys, right? You see all of these things. So for your slide, you would see a lot of things that you can select from here. Another thing I want to show us before we leave this place is, if you click on design, remember the other time when I was talking about theme, when I said if you click on any of these, the theme changes, right? Say you don't want to use any of those, you want to change your background. The default is usually white when you open a slide, unless you've got to change your default and set it to something else. Every time you open your slide and you try to do like an empty slide, your default would always be a white background, right? So if you want to change that background, right, you come to format background, right? And so let me remove this so that you guys can see. So once you click on format background, depending on the version you're using, you should see a new window appear on the right-hand side of your screen. If you're using an older version, yours might not appear like this. Yours might appear as a pop-up on your screen. But I think if you're using older versions from, I think maybe 2010 upward, you should have this here, right? You would see, so the default that is selected is solid fill, right? And then if you come down, you would see color. If you click on this drop down, you see the different color you can change your background to. So let's try one. I'll just use any color just to show you guys what I'm talking about. Once I select that color, you can see that my background has changed to green, right? I can come back here, change it to this to also change. Come back here, maybe change it to this, it will change. So whatever you want to change it to, your background will change to that color. Now, if you look down here at the bottom right-hand side of your screen, right, you'll see two options that says apply to all or reset background. Apply to all or reset background. Say, for example, you just want to change only the background of the current slide that you're on. What do I mean? Let's say I have 3 slides already, and I want to change only the background of this first one. I want to change the background of this first one alone, right? Once I do format background and I select the color that I want, let's say I'm trying to change it to this blue, right? I will not select anything, right? Don't select apply to all and just continue to do what you're doing at home here, right? But say from slide 2 to slide 4, I want them to have a different background color. I'll come here, still under format background, select the color, right? And I'll do, say, yellow. And I'll click on apply to all. You can see that every single one, including my first slide, has changed to yellow because I selected apply to all. So I can now go back and change this first one to blue. You can see that the first one is a different color. Slide 2 to slide 4 also have different colors, right? Any question before I move on? Because this is virtual, I can't see or get any reaction from you guys. Please, if you have a question before we move on, let me know. Can I continue? Do you have any questions at this point?
No, sir. You may continue.
Okay, thank you very much. So on the next slide, let's talk about working with images, right? We'll talk about inserting images. So first thing I want to just talk about before I move into the other side where we'll be inserting images is that when it comes to using images on your slide, there are ways, there are certain things that are allowed and things that are not allowed, right? For example, this particular image here, there's an issue with this image. Can somebody tell me what the issue is with this image on the leftmost, on the bottom left of my screen? This one. You can tell me what the issue is with this particular image.
So I think the dimension is not, they are not equal.
Okay, dimension is not equal. I can't hear you. Can you say that again? Somebody said something. Okay.
I said the dimension.
Yeah, I heard that. I wanted somebody else to say something else. Any other person?
I said the image seems stretched.
Thank you. So the image looked stretched, right? So this image has been stretched from the top, right? And it has distorted the image. So the person that said the dimensioning looks different is partially correct, right? But sometimes you don't have to have the same dimension, right? So for example, your width might be longer than the height. As long as the image and the proportion of the image has not been distorted, that is, the image is not looking stretched. So if you look at this and compare it to this image at the top, you will see that this particular one, the head of this baby is looking as if it is long, right, compared to this one. And then for this other one, for the second image beside it, the image has been stretched on the side, right? Now it's looking as if the head of the baby is looking fat, right? So these ways, these two images are not allowed when you're putting together a slide. It makes your slide look unprofessional and very tacky when you have this sort of image on your slide. The recommended way is to have something like this, right, on your slide. So let's go back and look at how to do that. So, sorry, I'll do this. I just change the background to white. And now let's look at inserting images. So the first way to insert an image on your slide is go to insert, you'll see picture. If you click on this, depending on the version of PowerPoint you're using, again, you can select a picture from your laptop. You see this option, select on this device. You can select stock images, which will require you to have internet connection, or you can select from online, that is like maybe do a Google search or something, right? For the purpose of this class, I don't know if I have any image saved on my laptop, but let's go to let's just go on Google. Let me say baby pictures. Say I'm trying to look for use the image of the baby, right? I'll click this. So I want to save this on my laptop, right? So I've saved that. So coming back here, now let's say I want to insert that particular image that I just downloaded online. You go to pictures, device, it's quite straightforward. It's as if it's like you're trying to upload a picture on your social media Android and it's telling you to select a picture from your gallery. It's the same thing. So I'll go to where I have the picture saved. Pictures, right? Where did I save that picture now? Yeah, can't find it anymore. Honestly, I can't find the picture I just saved now. Wow, I don't know why it's not showing, right? But I'll just navigate. Why is it not showing? Hold on, give me a second. It's not showing. It's not showing. But say I have the picture here, right? I just select the picture here and I click on open, right? And the picture comes. That's one way to insert it. The second way to do it is also to showing you, I don't know why it wasn't showing when I tried to insert, is to manually navigate to where you have the pictures saved on your laptop. So for me, I have the pictures under, okay. I think I know why it wasn't showing. Let me try it again. This device, I'll go to OneDrive pictures. It's still the same thing. Let's just continue. I'll go to where I have the picture saved, right? And then I can copy. Either you right click, right? And select copy, or you just select and do Control C. Control C, and then come back to your slide, right? And insert Control V. What's going on? For me, let me resave this picture. Okay. Sorry, guys. I know why this is not, why we couldn't find the picture. So the file type of that picture, it is not a picture. Sorry, I just realized now. So let's try and save another picture. Oh, this one is also not a picture. What? Images. Yes, so let's use this. Right? So let's come back here. So go to insert pictures, this device, right? So this is it. So this is the picture. And then click on insert. And then the picture will come up. Now, as we've inserted this picture now let's talk about formatting this. So before I go into that, so this is one way to do this. Another way, let me save another picture and let's try and insert this in another way. This one is also not a picture. Okay, so this is another picture saved. So another way to insert a picture is also go to where you have the picture saved, right? So this second picture, this one here, I'll do Control C, or you can right click and then select copy. Control C, and then come here and Control V, right? So that's another way to insert a picture. Now, formatting your picture, right? You know, the other time I mentioned that you should not stretch your images, right? So how do you resize? To resize your picture, once you click on a picture, you would see all these edges highlighted. You can only stretch from here, right? Or from the top here, or this top here. Just, you can only resize from the four corners, four edges, rather. If you try to resize like this, you can see that picture is now looking a little bit stretched. Or you try to do it like this to look stretched also. Or you do this, stretched, right? So you can only resize from this side or this side. You can also crop your images. So to crop your image, once you select a picture on your PowerPoint presentation, a new feature will come up. So this is what I'm talking about. If you click on your blank slide without clicking on the picture, right, you can see that there's nothing up here. You're probably on your own navigation bar, but immediately you click on picture, there's an additional option that comes up that says picture format. For some, it might be format picture or something, or just format. If you select this, if you click on this, you see all the different options and all the different formatting that you can apply to your picture, right? Say you want to crop this image. Click here and select crop. You get this option there. You can now click and move, right? Say I just want to show the baby's face, just the baby's head, right? Once I'm done cropping to whatever size I want, I just come back here and click crop again, and the image would have changed to this. Can you guys see that? Any question? Was I too fast? Should I take it again? Or we can continue? Can I continue?
Yes.
Okay. So similar to this other one as well, you can come here and say remove background. This feature doesn't work all the time, depending on the type of image that you're using. You can decide to remove the background of this image by coming to remove background. Let's try and see it for this particular image. Because we have a lot of things here, it might not work. So once I do that and I click changes, you can see that the background has been removed. To do that again, let me try it again. Select the image, click on remove background, and you can remove the background. Select keep changes and background will be removed. Something else that you can also do is to change the color. You know how you take a picture on your phone and you want to edit that picture by changing maybe the color, make it black and white, color the image, and all of those other things. So if you come here, you can see the different colors you can change your stuff to, right? Select any one that you want depending on your style of presentation and all of that, and then click OK, and then you move on. Let's continue. Now, before we move on, there's something else. Let's also, while we're looking at images, let's also look at shapes. If you click on insert and select shapes, like I mentioned before, you can see all of these options. Let's select a rectangle. Once you've selected a particular shape that you want, put your hand on your trackpad, left click, and then drag. Left click and drag while still holding your, while still left clicking, you can then drag and then move it around. Now, how do you format a shape? What are the different things you can do to a shape? Similar to an image, once you insert a shape, right, the option to format your shape comes up, similar to formatting your image, right? You can see under shape styles, you can see shape field. The most important thing that you would use every time is this: changing your color, changing your shape field, and shape outline, right? Changing those things. So to change your shape color, right, you click on shape field, right, and come here, similar to how we were trying to change the color of our text the other time. You can select any color that you want, click OK. But you will notice that this outline, this edge, Let me put it to presentation mode so that you can see clearly. You can see that it looks like there's a border around here. I would readily remove it. So select your shape, click on shape format, shape outline. Under shape outline, select no outline here. And click OK. If I come back here, you will see that that black edge that looks like the border is no longer there, right? You can move your shape around. You can type text on it. So this is my shape, and I want to type something on it. Say this is a rectangle, right? I can go ahead and now the default font color for a shape is usually white unless you've changed it. So if you have a shape and then you just start typing on it, the color will be white. If you want to change that color to something else, you can change that color under your home navigation bar. So you go back to home while your while your shape is selected and come under font. Is a icon here, click and then select a color that you want or you prefer. It will change to this, right? The difference between one of the differences rather between a picture and this is that for a picture, I can't just insert a picture and just type on a picture, right? You will notice that if you have a picture inserted on your slide right now, click on the picture and start typing, it won't work compared to a shape. So I've deleted it. I click this and I just start typing. This is another shape, right? You would just start typing on it. You can't do that with a picture. For a picture, if you want to add a text to a picture, what you would do is insert a text box, right? Place it here and call it, this is an image, right? And then I'll change it to color or whatever to something else, right? Do you guys understand? Any question
Yes,
before I
sir.
continue?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Another thing you can do here is also how you can duplicate your shape. So say you want to use the same shape multiple times, or the same image multiple times, or the same text box multiple times. Instead of going back to insert and selecting over and over again, something you can do is this. So say this shape now, I want another shape. Say I have this. I now want another shape. I would select this, not while my cursor is showing like this. Just click on the shape once and click on Control D, Control D, D for dog, D for dog, and then you duplicate your shape, and then you can now move your shape or resize your shape. That's number one. Number two, another slight difference between shape and a picture is that for a shape, if you insert a shape, you can resize your shape anywhere. That is, you can use any of the edges to resize your shape. You can resize from the left, you can resize from the right, you can resize from the top, you can resize from the bottom, right? And it won't distort your shape. It will just give you a shape or a form. As long as you get the shape or the form that you want, you are fine. So you can resize it any other way, either from the top, the bottom, left, right, or the edge. You can do that. But for an image, you can only do it with the four corner edges. That's how you can resize your image. Something else that I want to show you guys before we also move on is also how you can group similar objects together. So let's say this now. This, right? Let's say I want to duplicate this here. Here. Right? Now, I want all of this because they are similar together, right? I want to group them together such that if I'm moving them, let's say now, I want to move them to the bottom of my screen rather than from the top. And I don't want to move them one by one, move this, right? I just want to move all of them at once. I can group all of these objects together. How do I group them together? First of all, you can highlight. Remember, we talked about highlighting the other time, right? Once you've highlighted them and you see that they've all been selected, you now press, you can right click, right? And click on group. You go to group and click on group. Or you can just simply, once they are all highlighted, whilst they are still highlighted, on your keyboard, press Control G. Control G. G for goat, Control G, right? You will highlight and group, it will group everything together. Now, they are all appearing as a single object. I can now go ahead and move them together as a single object without the fear of one distorting and I'm having to rearrange them, right? Any question? Moving on. Let's also talk about some of the other tools that you would utilize to make your chart look really nice, right? And one of those features is your charts. Charts, very important. Depending on the style or whatever it is that you're communicating, you want to insert a chart such that there's because humans are like are very visual, right? There's a research that says that people comprehend and get things that are presented to them visually faster than things that are said to them or that are in words, right? So if you show somebody an image or something, they get the message quicker compared to you showing them a text that explains that thing, right? And that's where charts come in. How do you insert the chart? If you click also under insert, click on insert, you would see chart. You see chart. Select it and then select any of these things. Select depending on what you're trying to do. So if you click on the option will come to column, right? You will see the different types of column charts that you can use. Up here, you will see clustered column, stacked column, 100% stacked, and all of these things. If you click on line, you see the different types of line charts you can use. Stacked line, 100% stacked line. Click on pie, you will see your pie chart, you see your 3D pie, you see pie of pie, you see your donuts. The frequently used charts frequently used pie charts are usually, it's either people use a pie chart or they use a donut. Something that I want to mention that you should take note of is that whilst using a pie chart is good, right? You have to be careful when you use them. When you have, stay away from using a pie chart. When you have variables that once your variables, what you're trying to compare, is beginning to be more than 4, and or the values of your variables, they are very close. So what do I mean? You have one that is 35%, another one is, say, 25%, another one is maybe 24, 23%, another one is 25% or something. You can see that the values are very close to each other. If you use a pie chart, sometimes it can be very difficult to differentiate, especially when you don't have the labels on them. It can be very hard to differentiate which is which is which. That is, which one is bigger, which one is smaller, because they will look so visually close to each other, right? So you want to stay away from pie chart. I'll say that again. Don't stay away from pie chart. When your values are like 5 and above, don't use pie chart. Use another chart. Or when the values of your variables are very close to each other, stay away from pie chart. So let's start with, I'll do an example of pie charts and how to format them, and then I'll also show you an example of a column chart, and how to format them. So I'll take that again. So click on Insert, select Chart, right? I'll now come down to Pie, select the pie chart, and click on OK. Depending on the version you're using, you should see a pie chart has been inserted, and then a small Excel that shows the data that's made up this pie chart. Now for you, depending on what you're trying to do, you can now go ahead and change the color of, I said the color, and change the values of what this is, depending on what it is you're trying to do. Let's say, for example, we're trying to showcase population, let's say population by state, right? Population by state. Before I go ahead and do all of this, when you inserted your pie chart, if your Excel, this small Excel is not showing, so let me close my own and show you how to bring that Excel up, right? This is your chart here, has been inserted. Click on this thing that looks like a funnel. You done that? So once you click on this thing that looks like a funnel and look down, there's like a small pop-up. If you look down, you will see something that says select data. Select data. Click on that select data and your Excel should appear. The Excel should appear. So I want to do population by state, right? So what states are we looking at? I'm looking at Lagos, right? Say Abuja, say Kano, let's say Akwa Ibom, right? I've changed the names, values. Let's just use these values as they are. Okay, now, perfect example. This is what I was trying to explain the other time. If you guys look at my screen, right? If you look at this Abuja, Kano, and Akwa Ibom, can anybody tell me which one is bigger in terms of value? Is it Kano or is it Akwa Ibom? Anybody, just by looking at this, which one do you think is bigger? Anybody? There's no right or wrong answer.
The one in Ash is bigger.
The one
I
in
think
ash.
Kano,
Yes.
but it's not that marginal. It's
Yes,
not
it's
obvious.
very, the difference is not much.
Are you guys sure that it's not a Akwa Ibom?
It's kind of
It's I don't know. It depends. Honestly, they are very similar.
Very similar, exactly. So that was what I was trying to explain. Now let's look at the values. Look at it. Akwa Ibom is 1.2. Kano is 1.4. But because the values are very close, right? Visually, it is hard to immediately tell the difference of which one is bigger. And one of the things a chart is supposed to communicate to you is that at a single glance, you should be able to know what that chart is trying to communicate before your interviewer, the presenter or whoever even tells you that, oh, this one is bigger or this one is smaller. Do you understand? So let's say, let me change this one to, say, let's change Kano to 5.2, right? And change Lagos to 10, right? Change. Now let's leave it like this, right? So if I show you this at a glance, it's very glaring that Lagos is the biggest, right? Followed by Kano, followed by Abuja, and then followed by this, right? Just by looking at this chart. And it is clear like this because I had to change the values. Imagine using it in such a way where the values are close. You confuse your audience and you would give them a wrong impression of what you're trying to communicate, right? Now, styling this, how do you style a chart, right? A pie chart. How do you style a pie chart? You should still have, this option on the side here, right? So the first thing you want to do, so if you click on this chart styles, chart elements, this thing that looks like a plus sign, the one at the top, once you click it, you would see different options. You can see chart title is checked. If I uncheck it, that population by state would go. So I'll put it there back for my chart title. Data label is missing. I can decide to check this and have my data label. You can also see legend, right? Is checked, and that is what you have down here to know which is which. What color is blue, what color is orange, what color is ash, and what color is yellow, right? Now, if there's a cursor, there's an arrow in front. If you click that arrow, there's a little pop-up that shows you have different options, right, top, left, bottom, and all of that. What this is you being able to change where you want your legend to appear. So the default is usually at the bottom, right, of your slide. You can change it to the top, you can change it to the right, you can change it to the top, you can change it to the left, and all of this. So for the purpose of this class, let's put it on the right hand side. That is on this side, right? Something else that you can do is if you click on the chart itself, the pie chart itself once, like this, and then on your right hand side where you have format data series, right? Click on this thing that looks like a paint bucket. Fill a line, right? Let me move this down so you guys can see. Right? You would see border. Now, what am I trying to do now? You can see this, all this white line on my, let me put it to presentation mode so you guys can see very well. You can see all this white line. If I want to remove that, I'll click on the chart and come to border, right? The default should be automatic. right? I would select no line. Once I select no line, you can see that this white line has disappeared. White line has disappeared. You can also change or format this text box that carries your label. You can also change the text box that carries your label. You can either do it here. So once you click it, right, you can go to text options, right? And under here, you would see solid fill for the text fill and outline, this A here, text fill and outline. Under solid fill, you can decide to change it to white. You will see that the font color has changed to white, right? I can also increase the font size. To increase the font size, you can come here. So to increase the font size, whilst this is clicked, go back to home. Again, this is what I've clicked. Just click one of the labels, one of the values, right? Go back to home and select, change the font style or the font type. You can also increase the font size. Let's use 24. You can see that it has become big. Now, this particular one has gone outside. I can drag it back here like this, right? I can also change the color of each segment of my pie. I can change the color of each segment of my pie, right? How do I do that? Let me take it from the top. Click your pie chart, right? Click the inside of your chart. Everything inside here will be selected. Lagos, Abuja, Kano, and Akwa Ibom, right? But I want to change the color for only Lagos. I'll click Lagos again. You can see that it is only Lagos that is now selected. Only Lagos is selected. Then I can now come to my shape field here and change the color to say this green. I see the color has changed. Another place you can change that color is once you've selected only the region where the region you want to change the color, you can now come up here under format, and go to shape fill and change the color. Select a color there and it will change. You can go ahead and do the same for the other sections. Change their color as well, right? One after the other. Make sure that you're not using anything with the same color so as for people to be able to quickly differentiate each segment, right? So moving on. Any question before I proceed? So let's look at another chart. It's almost the same thing, but because depending on the type of chart, you will have different, what's it called? You would have a little difference in how to format them. But the general formatting is the same, like adding a label and all of those things is the same. Now let us look at a column chart. So click on Insert, Chart. Let's select this clustered column and then click OK. Similar to pie chart, you see an Excel and all of those things. But I don't want to do a clustered column. I don't want all these other ones. I can go ahead and delete this one. How do you delete? Same way you delete a column in Excel. Highlight the two columns, right? And use Control minus. I'll take that again. Control minus. So for example, you're on Excel, you want to delete an entire column. You want to delete an entire column. Just highlight that column, right? And do Control and press the minus key on your keyboard. And back to this, right? I'm not going to change the values for this one. And besides this, right? I'll go to chart element. You can see because this one is a column chart, it has more elements that you can format. The first one is axis. It is typed, it is selected, and that is where you have your left axis, the numbering for your left x-axis and your y-axis. So I'll put it back. You have your axis title also selected. That is, this value on the left is say population by say country or something, right? Then you have your data label, similar to the one we just did now. You can select your data label, right? Also select Anybody?
We were on how to edit the bar charts, those title labels, etc.
Okay. So I was still talking about the bar chart. Okay, I guess I had not like talked for long before I noticed that my internet was down. Thank you. So I'll share my screen and just continue from there. Apologies once again. Can you guys see my screen?
Yes, I can see it.
Okay. Okay, so I was trying to explain. Did you guys get the part where I deleted the other bars? Where I was talking about
No, we can't
deleting
see this
a
one.
column. You can't see my screen.
I can see you.
We can.
So I was asking before I went off, did you guys hear when I was talking about how to delete a column in Excel?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, we saw
Okay.
that.
Okay, so I'll just continue from here. So I was saying that similar to how you would format your pie chart, you can also do this formatting here. And the first thing I was talking about was I came here and I clicked on the chart element. You have more elements here compared to, so let me remove this and this. Compared to what's it called, the pie chart, right? For this one, you can have your axis title. That is, what do you have represented on your y-axis? What do you have represented on your x-axis, right? Once you check that box, you would see the title down here. You can now go ahead and type, say, let's say this one is population. And then under here is say population by country, or let's say state, right? If you come back here and click on your chart element again, you have your data label similar to on your pie chart. If you check it, you can select where you want it to appear. You have the center, you have it inside base, inside end, you have it that is at the top, but inside the chart. You have it inside base at the bottom of your chart. You have it outside end. So you can select anyone depending on whatever it is that you're trying to achieve. Let's use this outside end. And when it comes to also formatting, once you have your data label at the top like this, you would readily be advised to remove this because this value is no longer needed. This value was needed before so that you can see where each of your bar falls, right? So I can go ahead and delete this. How do you delete that? Click on this, right? And then press delete, right? And then your series title, which is like your chart title, you can say population. Let's just call it population by state, say 2024 or something. So you want to add your title as well. You can also decide to change the color of this bar, right? To change that, either you do it from here where you have your color field, select a color and change it to whatever color you want, or you can also do it from here under your format, shape field, and select a color, right? You can resize the chart. For your chart as well, you can resize it anywhere. You can resize it on the side. You can do it from the top, depending on the space that you have and where you're trying to fit in your chart as well. So there are other chart examples. So if you come here, you would see other examples on that chart that you can play with. But the fundamentals in terms of to format them Everything lies under this your chart element. You can play around and select and remove and see how those things change. When you select this, what changes? When you select that, what changes as well? So moving on to this. And then, so now when it comes to just now you've put together your slide, how do you put it together and just ensure you have a very good presentation at the end of the day? The things, elements that ensure that you have something very, very good. Remember at the beginning of this, I told you that depending on what you're trying to achieve, what type of presentation you're trying to make, will determine how you prepare your slide. But there's something you should know generally, right? Having very few information or the most important information on your slide is very, very important. Number one. Number two, knowing your audience. Again, recall what I said about knowing what you are trying to achieve. Who are the people you're going to be presenting it to? I say people that will just pick whatever it is that you design and they will read it. Let me give you another practical example. If you're designing something where, say for example, a proposal that you want to send to, say for example, NextGen is trying to do a program and they are trying to send a proposal to different organizations to sponsor them, right? The way they will design that proposal is quite, because they are going to send it to Lagos, send it to Abuja, send it to different places, and nobody would be there to present those things to the audience, right? It's quite different from the way you, if you're doing a presentation, you're trying to present a topic and you stand in front of your audience and you'll be presenting them. It's quite different how you're going to put together that slide, because for the one that you're not going to be there to present, you want to put as much information on your slide as possible, right? Because you won't be there to answer questions, right? You don't want somebody to pick up your proposal and read something they don't understand and then they just drop it and say, these people are not serious. How do I understand this, right? So knowing your audience goes a long way in how you design and put together your presentation at the end of the day. I mentioned this before. Use charts to help your audience to understand qualitative information quickly. So you have numbers, you want to present numbers or other qualitative information that shows maybe the difference between two things or relationship between things. Use a chart. They would get what you're trying to communicate easily and faster compared to presenting those things in words. Another thing is that when you use icons and illustrations, it already explains whatever message you're trying to pass across to your audience, right? And ensure that you don't have too much information on a single slide. Ensure that you have just one idea per slide. One idea per slide. I've said a lot of things, and because this is supposed to be like a beginner level, right? We've not gone deep into actually doing stuff, but I would give you some tips and some tricks that I think would help you guys for your level to start with. So let's come back here. Before I go into this, are there any questions about all of the things that I've said about doing all of these things? Any question? Please ask before I continue. We have about 20 more minutes.
Please, sir, how did you add more slides? Because we had one slide before, but then there are now
I
like
just
five
add
slides.
multiple slides. Okay, thank you very much. Sorry, I forgot to mention that. So to add a new slide to your slide, right? Either you come here, so under your home, right? If you can see my cursor from the left-hand side of your screen, top left-hand side of your screen, after your keyboard, you would see slides. There's new slide, right? you can select any slide here and it would add to your slide. That's one way to do it. Because I've changed, okay, I have a very tricky question. Let me see if you guys have been following me. Can anybody tell me why when I inserted a new slide, the background is yellow? It came with a yellow background instead of the default white. Can anybody tell me why that is the case?
Excuse me, sir. I want to give it a try.
Okay, try it, please.
So,
Professor.
when you were doing it, you said the formatted the background to this particular color. So automatically it applies to everything.
Thank you very much. Because when I changed the background, then I selected apply to all. So any new slide I'm inserting from there going forward would have that white background. Let's try something. Let me change the background of only this one. Let's see what happens. So let me change it to white, right? I've just changed it to white. I didn't click on apply to all. Let's go back to my insert new slide. You can see that everything is still yellow, right? Everything is still yellow. So that's one way. Another way to insert a new slide is the shortcut is while on this slide. So let me delete this one. Say I want to insert a new slide now. The shortcut for inserting a new slide is Control M, not Control N for nose. Control M for monkey. M for monkey. So Control M. M. Insert a new slide. Can you see that? So if I do Control M, new slides will be added. New slides will be added. So that's the shortcut and the two different ways to insert a new slide. You can also insert a new slide by going to Insert, under Slides, you see this and you select a new slide. Any other question? I hope I've answered your question. Can't remember the person that asked that question.
Yes, sir. Thank
Pfizer. Okay. Any other question?
you.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
Yeah, thank you very much for the class. I understand all you've been saying, but the major challenge I usually have using PowerPoint is my color combination. I find it difficult to mix color to actually present a very good project or anything I'm doing. So I don't know if you can just give me a clue on how to come up with a better color that fits what I actually want to present.
Okay. Thank you for that question. I was going to talk about that. And to be honest with you, right, I think that you and I, even though when I tell people they generally don't like believe because, oh, you are teaching PowerPoint, how can you say that you don't know how to match colors? I also do not know how to match colors. Like, I'm not very good at matching colors, right? But something that has helped me a lot is, first of all, the more you do it, right, you would understand what works, what doesn't work, what you should put together, what you should not put together. With practice, you'll get better. That's number one. Number two is that I rely a lot on templates. So a template would already come with colors, combinations, things that you yourself can already see that, okay, this thing is visually pleasing. Oh, this one is not good. I can't use this color with this color. I should use this color with this color. Don't use this color with this color. And I'll show you some of those tools that I use. The first one is, hold on. So you guys can, I'll type it into the chat. So one of the sites that I use a lot is called slidesgo.com. So if you go to slidesgo, you would see different presentation slides, right? With different colors. So let me show you. Let's say now I want to do something about, let me just search for, say, somebody give me just give me a theme, an idea or something. Let's say football. Right? So I want to make a presentation talking about football, right? Say I want to talk about say American football, for example, right? I can see this template. If you click on this, right, you would see, I think it's still loading, just a second. I want to show you the different slides that are there that you can always just see the color that's being used. All what you just have to do is put your content on it, or maybe use a particular slide and move things around, right? My network is still loading, so I can't view the different slides. So that's one. So I realized a lot on templates. That's number one. That's one tool that I use. Another tool that I use is Canva's color wheel. In fact, I have it bookmarked on my laptop. I would send the link to you guys. What does this do for me? This right here, if I have a particular color, so let's come here. Let's come back to this presentation. This particular color here, now let me say this one. Let's say this one here. Let me check for the color code. Copy the color code. So I want to use this color, and I want to know what are the other colors that I can use with this color. I'll come here. I've copied the color code. I'll paste it here. Right? Now, if you look at this, this is called the color wheel, right? There's this drop down here that would show you what is the complementary color that you can combine with this color that you've inserted here. It will give you that color. You can just copy the color code and go and paste on your slide and use that color on your slide. If you come here, monochrome color that can work with the particular color that you've chosen, right? You would see the color, you can choose the color code. You can try analogous, what other color matches. All these colors are colors that matches with that particular color that you've selected, such that when you use them on your slide, they will match together. That's one. Number two, like I mentioned before, practice. Practice goes a long way. And then number three is that when you look at what other people have done, so for me, right, something that has really helped me, and these are, I guess we've gotten to the point where I said I would share a lot of tips around things that I felt had helped me a whole lot, and I think that would help you guys too, right? Especially help speed up your own track as well. Is that when I registered for EduBridge that year, I think I attended maybe just 2 or 3 classes. I think 2 classes, if I'm not mistaken, because I missed the first class and the last class. It was supposed to be 4 classes. So I attended just 2 classes. Something that I did was that after those classes, I learned the basics of this is where to find this, this is where to find this, this is how to do this, like we just did today, right? And then I went on YouTube. I had a lot of YouTube channels that I was following. So every day I'm on the bus, I'm just sitting on my own, I'm at home. I just open YouTube on my phone, right? And just search PowerPoint videos, right? And I started watching PowerPoint tutorial videos. And those videos are videos that very short videos, 3 minutes, 4 minutes, that shows you how to do this, how to insert this shape, how to use this type of shape, how to design this type of slide. And I just watch those videos. Because the way those videos were structured was there's a narrator that was saying, oh, so click here, insert this, go here, click this, and I just watch those videos. I wasn't even practicing what I was watching. I was just watching those videos. And as I was watching, I was seeing things that were applicable. I was seeing, okay, this person, I watched a video yesterday, this person used this color and this color. It means that, oh, when I'm designing my own maybe introduction, table of content slide, I should use this color and this color. Oh, I should not use this color and this color. This color does not match. That was how I began to really know what to use and what not to use. So I used YouTube a lot and I practiced a lot. Something else I would mention to you guys that I think would really help you is that, and I'm sure like the other mentors would mention this to you, especially when you guys talk about employability skills and all of those things later in the course of this program. When you finish, when you graduate, or even before you graduate, there's a competition out there. There are people that are probably already interning in organizations, in finance institutions, in tech firms, while they were in school, maybe from the year 2, year 3. And I'm happy that you guys are still undergrads, right? So you have time. Apply for those opportunities. Now, where am I going? It's that by the time you're done, you would have to compete with those people. You guys are coming in as graduate trainees or whatever it is you join the organizations as, right? One of the quickest ways to stand out, one of the fastest ways to stand out, because as a GT, they don't expect you to know much. They expect you to have certain skill sets, ability to learn fast, you already know certain things, because they are going to be teaching you a whole lot of things. One of the things that will stand you out and help speed up your career, and I'm not just saying this because I know how it has impacted my own career as a person as well, is that if you already know how to use PowerPoint and Excel when you join those organizations as GTs, it will set you apart from your peers quickly. Because what tends to happen is that once your manager knows that you know how to do these things, especially if you're going to be joining like a consulting firm, a financial services firm, an investment bank, a tech firm, or maybe not tech, a law firm, a consulting firm, an investment firm, a financial services firm, and all of these things. At the beginning, you do a lot of these things. They would want to teach you and train you. You guys will do maybe a 1 week or 2 weeks training that would not be sufficient. But if you already know how to do these things, what tends to happen is that your manager knows that, oh, if I give Tiami this thing to do, or if I give Pfizer this thing to do, or if I give an officer this thing to do, I don't have to explain a lot of things to them. I don't have to handhold them. I just need to tell them 1 or 2 things, they will get it done. Because you will get it done. There's a saying that the reward for hard work, the reward for good work is more work. What tends to happen is that they will give you more work because you did the first one very well, and because you were good at the first one, they will give you another thing to do. You do it again, they'll give you another thing to do. You do it again, they'll give you another thing to do. Your peers that don't have those skill sets would not be getting those sort of jobs that you're getting. At first, it would look like, this one is working me, I'm not working me, I'm just enjoying. But trust me, as you're doing those jobs that they're giving to you, you're learning, you're building your own skill set. You're knowing how to do those things more than they can do. Before they realize it, you have gone way better than them. You know how to do those things way better than them. And that's how you go. Before you know it, you started as GTs. 1 year, 2 years, you've been promoted. They have not been promoted. That's how those things continue to compound. Those things will continue to compound and continue to compound. And I've said so many other things to your question, Tiami, but in terms of helping you with colors, if you adopt these options that I've mentioned to you, it would help you. Another option is, for a start, is, let's say, for example, I want to start a new slide, right? I can use a template here. But I think you have to be connected to the internet to access this template. Say, for example, I can use this. I'll create, and I just want to show you. You can see that just from this template, the color combination and all of the things that you need has been set, right? All you have to do is just come here, your content that you've prepared, just begin to insert your content. Anything that does not fit your own content, you can remove them. Say, for example, you say you're doing a final presentation, you have your team, you can put your team picture here, use this as your team picture, color and everything. You don't have to worry about color, everything is perfect. Just put your content, right? Or you want to create a table, maybe you want to do something here, the table has already been created for you. You can use it and continue whatever it is that you want to do. You can go and change your theme, go to design. That can also help you with, what's it called? I don't usually advise this, but for starter, because the theme are usually not very great, I would say you stick to templates. Templates already come with certain colors that look really, really nice. You can adopt any one of them and use it for your presentation. So that's to answer your question about colors. This is past one already. I'll take maybe one or two other questions before we call it a day. I would share this with you guys. I would add all those resources that I think would help you. I would try and look for those YouTube channels that I use them. I would put them on the slide so that you guys can use them as well and find them very, very useful. But trust me, practice is key. Any other question? I'll take.
Thank you so much, sir.
One or two now. You're welcome. Any other question? Question? Okay, if there are no questions, so let me share the link to this. I'll just send it to the chat. So I've sent that. You can get the link from there. Then there's, I think I mentioned Presentation Go. So there's Presentation Go where you can get free templates from. There's also Slide Go. So for Presentation Go, you would only get a chart or an image or something, just one single slide. While for Slide Go, you would get an entire presentation that you can adopt for your slide. Okay. Stop sharing now. Okay. If there are no other questions, thank you very much, everyone, for having me. Let me drop I'll drop my contact on the chat as well. You can reach me on this line on WhatsApp if you run into any problem, you have any question about PowerPoint or anything whatsoever, you can just shoot me a message on WhatsApp. Please, when sending a message, just send, oh, my name is Kiniko from NextGen, so that I can prioritize your message. If you don't call this number because it is not a call line, the fastest way to reach me is to send me a message via WhatsApp. I'll see it and I'll respond to you immediately. So I've sent my contact. You can use that to reach me on WhatsApp. Thank you very much for having me. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, sir. Thank you very much, Mr. Shakiru. I am sure most of us have gotten to learn one or two from the presentation. Thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you, guys. Have a nice day and take care. Bye.
Yeah, thank you very much, everyone, for joining. I think that will be all for this week's presentation and classes. We would meet next week, Saturday, where you'll be having sessions with your mentors. Thank you very much. And please feel free, if you have any questions, you can reach out to myself or to Mutun if you have any questions. Thank you very much.